ring mold of peas with artichoke hearts. That's going to be a lot of fun to make. Hi, welcome back. This is going to be episode 3 of Cooking with Vincent Price. I inadvertently took a week off of doing anything YouTube or filming related for no good reason other than I took a week off and I was lazy. So I thought I need to post episode 3. You're doing this thing now, so hop to it. So episode 3 is oatmeal lace cookies. Vincent Price studied art history when he attended Yale, and he graduated from Yale University with a degree in English and a minor in art history. Being an art historian, Vincent also was an art collector, and he collected a large amount of fine art. In 1957, he donated 90 pieces of his own art collection to a community college in East LA, and that started the Vincent Price Art Museum. The art museum is still an active museum, and it is also an active art school. To this day, art pieces that Vincent collected are still on display, and they are on display at the museum that is his namesake. In 1964, the Virginia Museum of Fine Art honored Vincent and his contributions to art history and art collection and just fine arts in general with a banquet. And the cookies that I made for episode 3 came from that banquet. And I'm sure that at that time they were delicious and made correctly, and they're good enough to be in his book. Mine were not. Mine were not. It was definitely the first fail. I know that, I hammered a piece of steak with a soup ladle, but it still tasted fabulous. These were moderate at best, and definitely a failure at its worst. So, here we go. Oatmeal lace cookies from the 1964 banquet from the Virginia, the Virginia Museum of Fine Art, held in Vincent Price's honor. Enjoy. I am hopeful that you can't hear the air conditioner that is right outside of my window, but it is already close to 100 degrees and it's not noon yet, so I am not going to turn it off. So these are the oatmeal lace cookies, and I am gathering all of my ingredients, and I am doing the math to try to cut the recipe in half. The ingredients are quick cooking oatmeal, a dark brown sugar, an egg, vanilla, salt, and butter, and that's it. These cookies are baked in a 350 degree oven. That is my butter. That is the butter that I cut in half. I just really, really don't know what happened with these cookies. The oats you blitz up in the processor to make a oatmeal type flour. I did that and I cut the recipe in half, but you will see here in a second that even cutting that in half, there is no way that it was going to be a thick batter, which is actually what the recipe calls for. I didn't cut the egg in half because there's no real way to cut the volume of an egg in half. Here comes all of the butter. At this point, it tells you to add all of the ingredients in, and you mix well until you have a thick, dark brown batter. This is the recipe cut in half. This is not a thick brown batter. So I made the executive decision just to dump more oatmeal in. And that's what I do. I didn't bother to grind that up. I just dumped in oatmeal. I probably should have swept the floor before the kitten break, but I didn't. So I am using half of a tablespoon, or that might be a teaspoon, measuring. I'm not exactly sure. The recipe calls for drop by half teaspoonfuls on a buttered cooking sheet 2 to 3 inches apart. The cookies will spread into large thin circles while baking, which they definitely spread. The recipe calls for baking the cookies in a moderate, which is 350-degree oven, for 12 minutes. Remove the cookies when they are done, and as they cool, they will harden and stick. So 12 minutes, this is what I got. They look correct from what I remember my coworker making. Sort of. Do you see that sheen, that bubble? That's butter. That's melted butter. How did the cookies taste? They tasted like butter and dark brown sugar, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but that's literally all I could taste. They were swimming in butter. I even tried to mop up some of the butter after they came out of the oven. No, that didn't work. I did the math multiple times. I know that I cut the recipe in half. It just didn't work. Would I make them again? No. No, I would not. The original recipe calls for, like, it ends up making 48 cookies, and I think you actually use a half teaspoon to measure them out. And no, that would like be an all-day ordeal of just basically melting butter and brown sugar together. They did not work for me. And it's interesting, I was nosing around online to find other oatmeal lace cookie recipes because it's not an uncommon recipe. I worked with a woman that every year she would make these for December holiday, little holiday gifts for us. The cookies themselves that she made were delicious. And it's this recipe. It's an oatmeal lace cookie. Man, it didn't work. And I think that it didn't work. And then I found a website from an individual who, you know, I bookmarked it. I need to see if the recipe, if the website is actually still active. Maybe reach out to this individual because it is basically someone over in the UK that is doing the same thing I am, which is cooking through the Vincent Price Treasury of Great Recipes. They are also cooking through other recipes, Vincent would frequently have his name and likeness and picture on recipes that would be in magazines and things like that. And that is also something I'm going to seek out and see how those recipes go. I'm afraid that it'll end up being weird things like potted meat and ham. So we'll see. But this individual also made these cookies and they were not successful either. So at least I'm not alone in the fact that the cookies just didn't turn out quite right. I don't know what happened, but is what it is, right? So I'm going to chalk this up to my first failure of recipes so far. It's a failure. It is a failure. I would not make the cookies again. It's a mess of a cookie to make. It's a mess of a cookie to cool. It just didn't work out, and I don't know exactly where I messed up in the recipe, but somewhere along the way, something just didn't go quite right. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to like the video, please feel free to subscribe, and episode 4, which will be on time, I won't take another break, will be also something that is equally as easy as the oatmeal cookies, and I'm just gonna work my way up into harder things to cook and to bake. So you gotta get rid of the easy stuff first. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.